Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. So in this video today, we are going to take up a numerical from GATE 2019, which comes from the topic of preemptive shortest remaining time first. So shortest remaining time first is another version of the frequently asked scheduling algorithms, and the preemptive version is what we are going to take up today. So here the question is a slightly tricky where the burst time for one of the processes is not given. So this is a newer twist in such type of questions. So let's see what the question was and how do we solve it. So here is the question. Again, I've taken it from the standard IIT website, and you can also fetch it from there. I don't remember which IIT conducted GATE 2019. I think it was IIT Madras or IIT Delhi, maybe. So you can check that out. So here we are with the question. So as you all can see, we have been given four processes P1, P2, P3, P4 with their arrival times and CPU burst times. Okay. And then what is asked is basically they've given that using preemptive shortest remaining time first scheduling algorithm, your average waiting time for this for scheduling these processes is 1 millisecond. So we basically need to find out the value of Z. So this is the Z, which is the CPU burst time for P4, which is not given. So in such types of questions, basically you assume Z's value as something. So like what I have done is, how I attempted this is, I assume Z equals to 1. Okay. So I assume Z equals to 1 and then I schedule it in the normal manner like we do. So let's see how I did it. So first of all, as at arrival time 0, yeah, at arrival time 0, only P1 was here, right? So we scheduled P1 over here. Okay. Now, for 1 second, we complete its processing, and then after 1 second, the remaining time left is 2. Okay. And at t equals to 1, P2 arrives over here. You can see only P2 has arrived at t equals to 1, except for P1, and it has burst time 1. So now if you check what is the shortest remaining time, this has 2 milliseconds to be executed, this has 1. So definitely we'll schedule P2 next. So therefore I schedule P2 next for 1 second again, and at t equals to 2 I checked there was no other new process that arrived, because this arrives at t equals to 3, this arrives at t equals to 4. Now this completes after 1 second, therefore I scheduled P1 again. And after 1 second again, now t, that is at t equals to 3, there is only one burst time left for P1, right? And P3 arrives now. Now at t equals to 3, P3 arrives, which has burst time of 3 units, 3 milliseconds. But again, due to shortest remaining time first, P1's remaining time is less than P3, so we'll schedule P1 next. So we schedule P1 next over here. Then after 1 second, P1 completes. But at t equals to 4, P4 also arrives. Now we check among P3 and P4 that which one has the shortest remaining time. So again P3 has 3 units to be executed, whereas P4, as we had assumed Z equals to 1, has only 1 unit to be executed. Therefore we'll be scheduling P4. So then I schedule P4 over here, and for 1 unit time, and after 1 unit what will happen is P4 will complete and I'll be left with P3. It's 3 units, so that is what I schedule at the end, P3 for 3 units from 5 to 8. Now I compute the average waiting time. So how do we compute the average waiting time? Clearly we just jot down the completion times, arrival times, and then we compute the waiting time. So P1, P2, P3, P4 completion times, as you can see, P1 completes over here. 1 second. Yeah. P1 completes over here. So T equals to 4. Then P2 completes where? Here, because there is no instance of P2 after this. So completion time of P2 is 2. P3 completes here. So its completion time is 8. And P4 completes here. So its completion time is 5. Now the arrival times you can check from the question itself. It is 0, 1, 3, 4. So that's what I've written over here, 0, 1, 3, 4. Then waiting time is what? Waiting time is completion time minus arrival time minus its burst time. Okay, so the time till for which it waited. So this is for the first one, it is 4 minus 0 minus 3, which is 1. Next one, it is 2 minus 1, which is 0. 8 minus 3, which is 2. Now these are basically the burst times, which again you can check from the question over here. Okay. So in this manner, I get the waiting times as 1020. When I compute the average, it is 3 by 4, which is not equals to 1. That means I had to take z's value something else. So again, I'll have to check by taking z equals to 2. Now, you don't have to do a lot of work over here. Just by putting z equals to 2, what will happen is the process from, let's take this, the process from here till here will remain the same. Why? Because P4 arrived at t equals to 4, right? If you check over here, P4 arrives at t equals to 4. So everything that we did till t equals to 4 remains the same. So that is why what you can do is you can complete the Gantt chart till here by keeping the value same as is. Okay, so that's what I've done. I wrote it completely same. Then at t equals to 4, you need to consider that what needs to be done next. Now at t equals to 4 with z equals to 2, P4 has 2 units to be executed. Okay, so let's write it over here. Yeah, at t equals to 4, we are only left with P3 and P4. P3 have 3 units to be executed, P4 have 2 units to be executed. Clearly, these are less than this. So therefore, we'll schedule P4 first and then P3. You can execute it, you can check it by executing for 1 millisecond, 1 millisecond. But again, if you just think a bit about it, what will happen is if you will execute P4 for 1 millisecond, the shortest remaining time still will be the P still will be less for P4, because 1 unit, when you subtract 1 unit from 2, you'll be left with 1 unit, right? So therefore, you can directly schedule it for 2 seconds, or you can schedule it like this for 1 second, 1 second, and then you can completely schedule P3. So that is what I've done over here. I schedule P4 for 2 seconds over here and then P3 for 3 seconds. Now we again compute the completion time, arrival time, waiting time. Again, completion time for P1 and P2 remain the same because they completed before arriving P4. So these two entries are same. Then for P3, the completion time over here now is 9. So 9. Then arrival time was same 3. So waiting time is 9 minus 3 minus its burst time, which was 3, which is equals to 3 over here. Then for P4, completion time is what? 6 minus arrival time is 4 minus burst time is 2, which is 0. So now the average waiting time, if you compute, it is 1 plus 0 plus 3 plus 0 upon 4, which is equals to 4 by 4, which is 1 millisecond, which was given in the question. So therefore z equals to 2. So this is how we solve such kind of a question. So whenever there is a question where some entry is missing, uh, in scheduling algorithms or in some different questions, always what you do is you solve the question by assuming a certain value, and then you check that whether the other things given in the question are satisfied. For example, the other things given in the question in this case was this average waiting time of 1 millisecond. Okay, so that's all for this video. I hope you got to know something new in this video. In case you did, please post your suggestions or comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you find this video. Also, if you would like me to post a video on some specific topic, you can please let me know by writing down in the comment section below. I'll be back with some more videos. Till then, stay tuned. Happy learning. Stay safe. Thank you. Hey friends, hope you all are safe in these critical times of COVID. Let me know how you liked this video. In case you liked it, please press the like icon below. Also, press the bell icon to keep you notified with my latest videos. In case you have not subscribed to my channel and would you like to see more of such videos, please press the subscribe icon. Stay safe, stay healthy, keep learning. Thank you.